Well, everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Now, today I want to do, I guess, a product preview. I suppose that's what I'm calling this one, because it's a product which has just hit the market. Some of you may have already seen a few videos which have been around, which is where I found this product. I'm working on getting the thing into the UK at the moment, but I'm told by this supplier that it's going through all of the European testing and getting certificates and all the rest of it before it really appears on the European market proper. But I managed to get mine direct from the supplier in the US. So what I'm talking about is this new sanding device from David Union. Now, many of you know this brand. Been around for decades. Some great tools. Do a handheld sander, a bit like my reciprocal. But they've kind of come back with what many people have been waiting for, which is a handheld belt sander. And as you can see, that's what it looks like on the packaging. I'll show you the front. So there's some info on the back about the specifications for power, etc., and some reference numbers on the side, as this is the 600. So what I thought I'd do is get hold of one, because I obviously wanted to see one of these things in action myself before I decided whether it was going to be on my store when it becomes available in the European market. But also just to, I guess, see if it's something which improves our workflow, makes things easier to use, etc., etc. All that really good stuff. So what I thought I'd do, I'd get one and unbox it, have a play with it on camera, just so you can see if it's something for you. My initial sort of feelings. Literally, I'm making this video the day after this arrived in the post. So I thought I'd do a sort of reaction, video. Not necessarily a testing video, because I haven't tested it, but just what I think of it initially, and what I think could be good or not for us model makers. So let's get the guy out of the box, and we'll see what we get. So in the box, you get some instruction cards in various languages. Yep. So we'll keep those handy. Now the device itself, let me just get it out and give you the initial look at it, as it looks just like a firearm, doesn't it? In your hand. But that's how the device looks. Let me just sort of rotate that a bit, if you like. That's the actual sander itself. Now in the hand, it's reassuringly solid. It does feel heavy. I think that's simply because of the huge motor in this thing. When I was looking at the details on the site, I didn't pay attention to whether this thing was going to be wireless. Was this going to be a rechargeable battery? And it isn't, because the power socket is on the bottom. So this is tethered. You do need to put a power lead into this. We'll do it in a second. But in the hand, as I said, it feels reassuringly solid. There's a weight to it, which I like. It's they thought about the handle, etc. It does feel very, very good in the hand. And I think you can see that there. That's the on-off switch, and also the power, that's the speed dial, and your finger goes there beautifully. So you can switch it on, switch it off, and you can adjust the speed with your index finger, which I felt was rather nice, because you'd be holding the part in this hand probably, and you do want to have some kind of level of control, don't you? Yeah, which I will show you in a second when we'll get some parts, and we'll do a little bit of sanding just to see how this actually works sort of in practice. So that's the actual device itself. Also in the packaging, of course, is the power brick. And they've, because obviously I'm in the UK, so they've sent me a 3-pin plug, but obviously depending on where you are, you will get the appropriate attachment for your power. And as I say, it is tethered, so it's pretty one of these standard power couplings. Also in the you get some spare sanding sanding pads as well. What I will do is show you how these actually change on the machine as well. Dead straightforward. I had a quick look at it before this video. Very, very easy to change, which again I was quite happy with. I'll actually show you that in practice. So let's put that back in there and close the box, and we'll put that in its usual place there. Let me just have a quick swig of coffee. Okay, so put those there for a second. Now then, let's have a quick read of the user guide. The D600 handheld belt sander is designed for high performance and smooth operation, making sanding easier and more efficient. I like the word efficient there. With its ergonomic design, I like the word ergonomic, and durable build, the D600 is ideal for both professionals and DIY enthusiasts, quickly becoming a trusted part of your toolkit for excellent results with minimal effort. So what's included? The D600 handheld belt sander. The sanding belt is a 320 grit, which is pre-installed, so that's what's on the machine itself. And you also get 10 times the spare sanding belts. Yes, you do. Power adapter and a user guide. So the initial setup is pretty straightforward, and of course they give you a clear indication of how all these buttons work and what they're actually for. On the back is just how to use on-off switch. I'll show you that in a second. Maintenance, safety tips. They very good. They do recommend goggles and a mask to keep the debris away from you, and keep the sander dry and unplugged before making any adjustments. Absolutely. Also a quick idea of how to change the sanding belts and cleaning. And of course, if you need any help, there's a service email address. So pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's get the power installed. Plug it into my power socket, which I just happen to have on the back of my bench for just these kinds of things. So it goes in the bottom like that. So that's very adjustable. So that is its slowest, and it did tell me that. Hang on a second, it does tell me. I'm sure it tells me somewhere what the slowest is. It on here or on the box? Let me have a look. I think it was on the box. I'm sure it said that somewhere. Where did it tell me that? Yes, speed 50 to 360 meters per minute. That's how it goes. So that's the slowest it will go. So that's 50 meters per minute. So let's crank this to its highest setting. So let me just do that with my. Can I do that with my finger here? Yes, I can. So that's its highest setting, which was, what was it? 360, wasn't it? Yeah, 360 meters per minute. That's going, which is quite hefty. Will I ever have it that high for sanding small parts? Probably not. But if you're doing some kind of DIY, or maybe wooden models potentially. I think I'm thinking of you bolt builders. This kind of device could be an absolute game changer for you. But yeah, I like the adjustment on there. I mean that's very, very good. That's fifth. That's the slowest. But probably somewhere there would probably be good for for most of us plastic kit model makers. But I like the idea that you can actually hold that very, very easily in your hand. I say it's quite comfortable, absolutely, and the adjustment is very good on your finger there. That's excellent. That is very good. I'll just crank it to its highest again, so you can see that. And also, I'm very, very impressed that there's no wobble, or at least very little wobble on here. So they thought about the tension, and I'll show you that in a second when I change the sanding belts. There's very little wobble there. So again, when you're going to sand something, say my fingers apart, you're going to sand something, that will be very accurate indeed, because you don't want that wobbling around. You want to make sure you definitely know which part you're putting the sander against. that's an interesting innovation there, and I like that they thought about that. So I was expecting this to be lots of maybe lateral movement, that kind of thing, but they've really thought about that, and I really do like that a great deal. Let me just switch it off for a second. Now then, excuse me. Let me get a part. So let's get something large, like this tank base, which I was just priming the other day. I was actually priming this with one of the. Let me just reach for it. Hang on a sec. With this airbrush, which I've been testing. The one for the swallowtail. Very nice indeed. It's a superb piece of kit, and I highly recommend if you're picking up a new airbrush and you're thinking, do these triggers really work? They absolutely do. Because I was having issues with the triggers on the top. A lot of my hand was going to get really tired. And someone said, "Well, we'll try a trigger." Didn't really consider that, but the triggers are absolutely amazing. I digress. Hang on a sec. Let me put that back. So let's sand some of this, and we'll see how it actually works in practice. So let's switch it on. I'm going to go sort of midway. And I'm going to go in and just sand an edge. I'm just going to take that corner completely off and just see. And just see what that actually does. Now then, let's have a look at that. Yeah, but if you can see that, that's taken that corner off beautifully. It really took the styrene down very quickly indeed. Literally just tapping or just touching the surface, because of the rotation, of course. It was taking that off very nicely indeed. That's a very clean piece of sanding there. You can see that. Yeah. So because obviously it's a flat surface, what happens when I try to apply this to say a surface like this? Well, actually, because I primed it, you can see it's taken the primer off really nicely. But you can sort of see if you need to do large flat areas quite quickly, because obviously it's rotating all the time and gives you a flat surface. In fact, let me just measure that. Let me just grab a ruler. I just want to see how wide these things actually are. So I don't think they're 10 centimeters. What's that? That looks. That's about it's about 8 millimeters. So these are 8 millimeters wide. So that gives you an idea of the surface you can actually sand, because with that with that sort of motion, you can take off plenty of surface or any kind of imperfections which you're trying to get off. But that's very good indeed. And of course, it's also got an end. So let's give that a go. Let's see what that does. Let's put it on sort of medium speed. So if I put that against something, what happens? Yep, that's very good. Again, that took off the primer, and it's down to the styrene. I can feel a sort of dent there already. So that's taking off plenty of material. So you kind of get best of both worlds. You can do it on the flat surface, and of course, if you really want to maybe reach in for something, or you want to take off lots of material quite quickly, the end works very well indeed. So the initial impression is this could be extremely useful for lots of different applications. It really could. I would probably use this in association with the reciprocal, because it depends on what your application is. You hear me talk about that a great deal across all these videos. These tools what's your application? If you don't have an application, it's probably not for you. But if you think, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been struggling to take lots of material off, or to shape some objects or some parts. You know, this kind of tool could be absolutely fantastic. Don't feel that because it's tethered is an issue. I mean, I'm lucky that I have power right on my bench, because it depends on where you're going to plug it in, and if that then causes you issues when you're trying to use it somewhere. Would have been nice perhaps if this was a rechargeable battery, and maybe that's coming in Mark II, or maybe there's an issue that it can't be, because it needs to be a very large motor to run the whole thing at speed. But I don't feel that's a massive issue at all. Yeah, it's storage wise, you just unplug it and put it away. It's not as easy as obviously my reciprocal, because that just drops into one of my Z components on the back here, which obviously you can't see, but it just drops in. You know, this won't stand up on its own, so I can't just stand this on the back of my bench, for instance. You know, it's just it doesn't work. But I don't feel that's an issue. I don't. Initially, I'd like to see it be, you know, wireless. It would have been nice, but I don't feel that's an issue at all. So let's have a look at the belts, and let's unplug it. Now then, what you do to change your belt is you can see there's an arrow on the back of this device. So you pop the cover off like that, and of course that releases where you can actually access the belt, and of course then you can see where all the debris gets in. So you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning this guy, which is fact of life, isn't it? That's just the way it is. Now what you do is, you can see there's this little lever on the back here. So what you do is you pull this lever back, and that releases the tension, and then you can just slide this off and put the next one on. And then obviously to put the next one on, if I can do this one-handed, which I should be able to do. Oops. Let's get that in the right place. Hang on. So I'll put that over there, put that over there. It's popped off, of course. As I say, I haven't done this before, so you're seeing me do this for the first time. So I dare say there is a knack. Once you've done it once, you should be fine. So let me get it over there onto the end, line it up, and then take your finger off. That goes flat against there. Take your finger off, and then you can adjust it so it's right over the roller. And that's how you put the new sanding belts back on. And so you get some extras in the pack as well. You also notice you get these pads. They are, can I show you that? Those are in here. It's just something for the belt to run against. So those are spares which you can put in when you need to. In fact, let's have a look at how you actually do that. So they're self-adhesive. I don't want to pull this one off because obviously it hasn't been used yet. But if I can just pull the corner off there, you can see those pads there are sort of self-adhesive. They look very much like brake pads on my old bike. I guess it's very similar. It's just something for the belt to run against. But as I say, it's self-adhesive. Looks like. So you just put the next one, the replacement on, and then pull that back, and then put your belt back on. Let me just adjust that slightly. And then the cover goes back on. Oops, the cover goes back on there. And if I can get it in the grooves. Oh, there it is. So it just, in fact, let me just show you that. So I was having some issues. See some grooves at the back there? They just fit on the back, but you have to get them lined up before they will actually go in. So come on, there it is. Super. And then it's back for use again. So initially, my impression is that it could absolutely be very, very useful. I'm thinking when I'm doing sort of dioramas and I need to shape something, this could be ideal, because at the moment I'm obviously going at it with craft knives and manual files just to shape something. But this guy could absolutely be fantastic. I like the idea that you have a flat surface and an end. The end in particular, I can see me doing that a great deal. That sort of action, trying to hit something like that to sand it. But even for for shaping parts or taking stuff off corners if you needed to, for scratch building or for modifications, this guy could be absolutely fantastic. It really could. So yeah, so this is my initial reaction. I haven't tested this yet. I haven't actually in earnest had a go at it with anything in proper, if you like. But my initial impression is it could be a game changer for some of you. Absolutely. I think if you have an application for where lots and lots of sanding, and I'm seeing lots of wooden bolt kits appearing on the marketplace recently. I've seen lots of those. A lot of those are going to need sanding, etc. And I think this guy could be fantastic for you guys in particular. Wooden kits, that kind of thing. But I think it could find a home on most people's benches if you need to do lots and lots of sanding or modifications. And of course, the fact that it's tethered, as I said, I don't really have an issue with that. I'd like to have seen it to be wireless, but it isn't in this particular version. And as I say, I like the adjustments that I can make with my finger, so I can go up and down depending on what I'm actually doing at the time. I do have the power when I need to take lots of material off, and then when I need to do fine adjustments, take that down to its slowest setting, which is there. That's what was it? 50, wasn't it? 50 meters per minute, which is ideal for doing fine sanding. But you do have the power when you need it. So that should be on the store as soon as I can possibly get it. I'm speaking to the suppliers as we speak to try and get these into the UK for you guys. Not sure when that's going to happen yet. There's no time frame because these all need to get passed through various regulations to get I think some certificates to get into the UK, so we can sell these in earnest. But as soon as I have an update on this, I will do I guess a proper review, or at least an update to this video, which hopefully will be coming very soon. I don't think it'll be too long. I don't think it's going to be months and months and months on end to get this thing into the UK. But there's a few other tools. It's coming from a supplier which I'm also talking to for lots of new tools which are coming from them as well. So it's a case of really keep an eye on the site. So if you haven't already, do subscribe, do hit the bell icon for updates, and then you'll be the first to know when this does actually arrive in the UK for my store. So that's the handheld belt sander, brand new out of David Union. But again, it's an interesting concept which I think could find a home on many modelers benches. So as usual, any questions, any queries, do get back to me, and of course, keep on modeling.